Hey guys, back here once again to give you a review of a New Japan show that I just finished watching a few hours ago. This is a show that I don't think is circulated onto YouTube yet. I think that might be because it's a pay-per-view and maybe New Japan isn't actually going to upload a pay-per-view onto their channel. They do upload all the matches from some of their shows onto that channel, and there are some other channels that will upload full shows from from all sorts of Japanese promotions. But this show I don't think has been on YouTube yet. Maybe because it's a pay-per-view, I have to download this show. But I did want to talk about this show because this is something pretty special. This is something that is extremely worth checking out, and to me, this is in competition for the show of the year. I'm just putting that out there right now. You might not believe me because of Death Before Dishonor, but once you see this show, you will see what I mean. This is an amazing, amazing show, and definitely the best thing I've seen from New Japan this year, because I've seen a fair bit of New Japan this year. I've seen Wrestle Kingdom 4, I've seen the Super J Tag Tournament, and I've seen some of the best of the Super Juniors, but not really enough. I don't think I've seen the best stuff from that yet, but I'm getting my way through it. There's a lot of stuff there, and it's hard to get. It's easy to get bogged down in it. But this is easily what I would expect New Japan to put on this year, because as I was watching some of the other shows, I was thinking to myself, this is a very good show. This is some very good matches, but they have the talent to put on an amazing show this year, and I think it's only a matter of time before we see it. Yeah, this is the show. This is the show where everything just worked. Everything was awesome. Well, not everything was awesome, but there was nothing bad on here. Everything was good. There was some great stuff on here, and I would definitely recommend checking this out. This is an amazing show, and I'm saying this is just as good as Death Before Dishonor. And that's kind of hard to say in a way, because it's easy to say that Death Before Dishonor was a better show, a little better, because I maybe understood the stories going into that show more than this. But this is a very significant show as well, and it's very easy to see the significance of this show when you look at the two big matches on this show. For the you have Prince Devitt and you have Togi Makabe, both going hell and leather to win their title matches and beat the best from Pro Wrestling Noah, and that can really be summarized in the promo that they had at the end of the show, where they just kind of celebrated their wins together and kind of just really showcased that significance of those two wins. And that wasn't the only significant thing that happened on this show. We also had a title change, we had a head shaving. There's a lot of great stuff on here, and I think it's a very significant show. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is tied with Death Before Dishonor in terms of pure quality. You know, if you've seen the show, you might know what I mean. You might actually think I'm overrating it, but I thought it was that good. I thought this was an amazing show, and definitely check it out. We opened this show with Koji Kanemoto, El Samurai, and AKIRA versus Super Strong Machine, Ryusuke, Taguchi, and Tama Tonga. This was a good match. This was a good six-man tag. Everything an opener should be. There was some athletic stuff. There was some hard-hitting stuff. Just an all-around, just some back-and-forth action. Just a good, solid tag, six-man tag to open up the show. You know, 3 stars. Nothing more to say there. Just a good, solid match to open things up. Then we get to another six-man tag, which I think there's a stable war going on. Maybe not a war, but there's two conflicting stables in New Japan at the moment. Chaos and Blue Justice Army, I believe. And I think this was kind of a progression of that. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone can correct me on that. I'm not as in tune with New Japan stories as I would like to be. But this was another good match. It was Manabu Nakanishi, Mitsuhide, Hirasawa, and KUSHIDA versus Takashi, Iizuka, Tomohiro, Ishii, and Gedo. This was a very, not a very good, but just a very solid match, a good match. There was a dirty finish at the end of this that I thought was well done, because there are definitely, some finishes in New Japan and in international promotions as a whole that just kind of seem out of nowhere, maybe because it might be because of the language barrier, I guess, because obviously commentary adds another element to the story, and because if you can't understand the commentary, you're missing out a little bit. But in this case, I thought the dirty finish was well done, and just a good overall match. Another solid 3-star six-man tag. Then we got to a singles match to kind of vary things up a little bit. It was Tomoaki Honma versus Mohammed Yone. They had great chemistry in this match, and that's because I'm giving this 3.5 stars, even though it was only a 10-minute match. I thought it was that good. I mean, for 10 minutes, they went out there and did a lot of great stuff, I thought. They added, some of these guys, and I've noticed this about Japan a lot, they kind of take a basic move and they add kind of a unique element to it, like a clothesline, a chop, or the selling of a chop. You know, you just see different things that you're not going to see anywhere else, and that doesn't just necessarily apply to, you know, all kind of Japan does it a different way. Like there's some different guys that do it different ways within Japan. So that was kind of what I was seeing in this match. Just a very strong match, 3.5 stars, and for a 10-minute match, that should show you how good this was. Just a very strong match there. Then we got to the weakest thing on this show, and it only lasted 5 minutes. That should kind of really tell you something there. This was kind of significant as well because it was the return of Shinsuke Nakamura. He went up against Daniel Puder, who we will remember from the WWE. They went for like 5 minutes, and they did kind of a short, like, work shoot kind of mixed martial arts style thing. I believe it was. This was short, but it was fun for a while it lasted. I would say that. I'm going to say, you know, 2.5, 2 3/4, something like that. Just for 5 minutes, this was fun. So, you know, it wasn't bad at all. So that should kind of tell you that's the weakest thing on this show. We've got a long way to go because we're about to get into the awesomeness of this show. Just kind of warning you now, this is about to get very awesome very quickly. We got to Hiroki Goto versus Masato Tanaka. Masato Tanaka we will remember from the first One Night Stand in 2005 when he had a great match with Mike Awesome, God rest his soul. This was again, you know, the guy can still go. This was an awesome match, I thought. You know, there was a good table spot at the start of this, but I really wish that, you know, New Japan has very small tables. I really wish they would get a little bigger ones. Maybe because I'm just used to the bigger tables we get in the US, but it just kind of seemed strange to me, the size of the tables there. Just throwing that out there a little bit. But this after that we got into the ring. They did some really good stuff. You know, again going back to the finishing thing, the finisher coming out of nowhere. This wasn't anything like that. This had a lot of good false finishes. You were kept guessing as to who was going to win. There was a lot of times when I thought this was over and it wasn't. They just kept going in some weird and fabulous way. This was just a great match, 4 stars easily. Definitely a great match. I think it was an intermission after this, and I really think that was a good thing to have one of the best matches. One of the best matches on the show at this point in the evening, because I think they had like an intermission, I think, of some sort. Then we came back to have the match for the IWGP Tag Team titles, which was a 3-way. Yuji Nagata and Wataru Inu versus Giant Bernard and Carl Anderson, and versus Yujiro Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito. This was, you know, we will remember Giant Bernard from his days as A-Train / Albert in the WWE, and back then I really just kind of thought of him as kind of just an okay big man, an adequate big man. That's kind of what I would say in this match, although he was used very well in this match to put in some good spots with some of the smaller guys in here, so he definitely did his job, and he wasn't a hindrance in this match, you know, because he's definitely not he hasn't been in WWE for forever, so he's definitely not been going with WWE style, so there's no problem there. And he was in this match. This was an elimination style match, and he was in it until the end, of course, because his team won the belts. This was a very good match. Just once again, good false finishes using the big man to your advantage to put on some good false finishes, and the overall finish was good as well. I thought, with kind of a surprise finish, but in a good way, because, you know, we had Carl Anderson with kind of a shock. Kind of a cutter-like maneuver, and that was good. So this was a very good match. I was very into this. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 3/4 stars. Just a very good match. Then we get into the match that kind of piqued my interest to actually watch this show to begin with, which is Naomichi Marufuji versus Prince Devitt for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. This is the match that Prince Devitt earns by winning overall the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. He won a shot at Marufuji here. This was everything you would expect from these guys. You know, if you haven't seen, I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't seen their match they had in January, I believe it was earlier in this year anyway, they pretty much, it wasn't as long as you might expect them to go, but that was pretty much because they stuck to a fast pace from the beginning and they didn't slow down for a second. And quite frankly, the only thing wrong with that was they were doing so much stuff that you couldn't really commit any favourite spots to memory because it was just going too fast. It was just too much almost. But this was a more traditional paced match, but that didn't hold them back at all. They had a very strong match. It was fast paced. They had some good back and forth, good kicks, good spots. Everything was just right on the money. I'm going to go ahead and say this is 4 1/4 stars. Really, very good. And, you know, Devitt won. He deserves it. He's on a roll right now. I'm going to say that much. He's had some very good matches this year. Just great stuff. This is kind of in competition for match of the night with the main event, which we will see once we get there. Then we get to Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Toru Yano. It's the hair versus hair match. I'm going to guess that this is important because it was placed late in the show, and it wasn't a great match by any means, but it was, and you would kind of want this to be a great match at this point in the show, but it was still very good. I'm going to say the wrestling was 3.5, but I'm going to add another quarter star because of the segment they had with the head shaving, which I thought was very, very well done. You know, they had it wasn't like a cowardly runaway heel. He kind of stayed in there and kind of tried to fight him off and then shave his own head. The heel did, and then you had Tajiri come out and give him a face full of mist, which I thought was really, really fun. Just a really fun segment, and I'm going to add to the overall rating. Just a really fun time. Then we get to the main event for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Togi Makabe versus Go Shiozaki. Another great match, hard-hitting, great story. I think there was great face and heel dynamics in this match as well, with the face comeback that Makabe was doing. Just a great match, 4.25 stars. Find this show, watch this show, amazing.